They know. An article was released today that confirms they absolutely know these craft we are seeing in our skies are coming from Antarctica. And they're also keenly aware there's absolutely nothing they can do about it. The technology is so far beyond anything we have or any other government has that attempting to interdict them or attempting to interfere with them would just be a fool's errand, as we have seen over and over again. Now, say what you want about the U.S. government and the U.S. military, they are nothing if not predictable. Prior to the event of 2020 and 2021, in early 2019, they used a channel called Nat Geo to release this Ebola story. I think many of you remember it. It was called The Hot Zone, and I covered it because at that time I was talking about different things going on in Africa with Ebola. You see, that what they do is they use pseudoscience to say, hey, look over here. Don't look over in this other place, but look over here and see what's going on. Well, they've done that with this story about these craft in our skies and this new quote-unquote UFO report. Now, what am I talking about? Nat Geo. Soils from Antarctica seem to contain no life, something that's never been found. Now, when you read through the article, it sounds all very plausible. The soils from rocky ridges in the center of Antarctica harbor no microbes at all, something that's never been found. Published June 16, 2021. For the first time, scientists have found soils on Earth's surface that appear to harbor no life at all. The soils came from two windswept rocky ridges in the interior of Antarctica, 300 miles from the South Pole, where mountains poke through the ice, thousands of feet thick, blah, 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 blah. All sounds plausible if it wasn't complete and total bunk. It's a total lie. This was established 70 years ago. That's right. This allegation that microbes don't flourish in Antarctica. They're saying that's never been discovered before. Really? Well, let's jump in the Wayback Machine to Operation High Jump. There were these reels that were put out by the U.S. military, U.S. Navy, and in one of them, they reveal this exact fact, and I would like to play that for you right now so that you can hear it for yourself. Give me 1 second to get the camera adjusted and the volume adjusted so that you can hear the U.S. military confirm this.
No matter how great the pressure of work, the flag must be raised with a ceremony which is its due. Admiral Byrd declares Little America the Fourth in full operating commission. The Admiral and the party ride Weasels 12 miles south to visit his earliest camp, marked by the radio towers. Little America the First, now 40 feet under the snows of 17 years. And above it, Little America the Second, 25 feet under the snows fallen since 1935. Captain Boyd, United States Marine Corps, ties on a safety line. While Admiral Byrd and three veterans of his previous expeditions watch, Boyd inches his carcass down the old ventilating hatch. It stood 20 feet in the air when it was put up 12 years before. He pokes a stick up as a marker for the main hatch. Now all hands, the Admiral included, will have a chance to go look-see. Below, the old-timers find a lantern that lights at once, and all manner of other gear. For here in Antarctica, there is no decay, no rust, no dust, not even germs. Fruits, vegetables, meats, all good after 17 years. Small wonder Byrd preaches that one day Antarctica may be the world's storehouse to keep the 7 years surplus for the 7 lean years. Byrd, bringing with him the old corn cob he'd forgotten in 1930, comes up last. He meets heavy going, but he makes it the hard way and seems to like it.
Now, I'm sure many people in the modern world wouldn't know what was being referenced there with the 7 years of lean and the 7 years of plenty, that being, of course, a biblical reference. But they confirm things don't go bad. There are no microbes, no fungus, no bacteria, no germs, nothing. And that's why Admiral Byrd said this might be the place where we have to prepare for something that's coming. So this idea that Nat Geo is saying, we've never found this problem in Antarctica before, there's just no life, it's unbelievable. You see, that's the story they want you to believe. The story they want you to believe is the headline. Antarctica, no life. That's the goal here, because people just read headlines these days. That's what they want you to hear. This is exactly the same game they played. Now, funny story. Think about what was said there critically for just one moment. They were talking about the camps having been buried under 20 feet of snow in just a matter of a couple of decades. But wait a minute. The ice and snow in certain places is 6,000 plus feet thick. If you can create a settlement the size of Little America, and then only in 20 years have it be completely buried to the point where an exhaust pipe 20 feet in the air at the time is now level with the snow, what could be the case for perhaps a settlement that was there 1,000 years ago? Or even 200 years ago? How far into the ice would it be? Then based on that, you couldn't say definitively that there weren't settlements all over Antarctica made by whoever, whenever. And this idea that they want to push using Nat Geo, that there's no life in Antarctica, seals and penguins and squid and wind, ice, rock, and snow. You see, this is the game. This is the game. For so many years, 2016, 17, 18, we read article after article after article when they're trying to push their global warming stuff about the melt in Antarctica and how they've discovered these caves. There's a cave they have discovered down there that is 1,000 feet high and 6 miles long. You could build a runway in it. You could take off a Cessna and fly around with no problem. That's how big this cave is. I'll give you the links. We've shown other articles where they've found caves that have been created through volcanic heat, where the temperature down there under the ice is in the mid-70s, and they found DNA samples and microbes everywhere. It just depends on where you're looking and what you're looking for. But that they're now using Nat Geo to put this story out shows me they don't want people looking at something. They don't want people considering this idea critically. They know. They absolutely know, and what has them terrified is that there's nothing they can do about it. They don't understand it. It's too far beyond them. So they can't react to it. They can talk about national security all they want. But if they can come and they can go, and they can operate in a way that exceeds the flight envelope of any aircraft we have, I really don't know why anyone would even create a report on this. Because heretofore, I haven't heard of any of these craft taking any kind of an aggressive action. Ours have. Theirs haven't. And this is another image that on the left here I pulled up from Antarctica. We used in another video. You can very clearly see the remnants of walls, the remnants of settlements in places. Just like you see in other parts of the world that are more arid. And then here in the lower right, very strangely, on an island off the coast of Florida, right down here, we see a clearing created that is virtually identical to the continent of Antarctica. Now, why would someone create, and it stayed this way, It's a permanent clearing. How that was created in Florida, I don't know. Because anyone out there within the sound of my voice who lives in Florida knows that everything grows everywhere all the time, especially when it's rainy like it is now. You can clear an area, and unless you do something to keep it cleared, everything and anything will come back. And just in a matter of months, it'll be grown back up. How you could do this, I don't know. That's some kind of magical technology that shouldn't have existed when this clearing was created. It is a continent larger than all of the United States, larger than all of Europe, with the vast majority of the world's fresh water. I mean, think of an area the size of the United States completely covered in fresh water. Volcanic soil. The waters around Antarctica teem with life. That's what cold ocean waters are known for. To say that there wouldn't have ever been life here and that it wouldn't have been able to evolve simply because of the ice is just ridiculous. And this is the part that I'll leave with this story about quote-unquote extraterrestrial life, because everybody seems to look up and see them in the skies. In the series Colony, from I believe it was FX or Sci-Fi, I don't remember exactly which one. They talked about the alien arrival coming out of the sun. Well, it doesn't mean they came all the way from the sun. It literally just means that they used the sun at their back to obscure their arrival. So how do we know that the craft that we're seeing at any altitude in our skies, just because they're at that altitude, doesn't mean they came from outer space? Yeah, from your perspective down on the planet, it looks like outer space is behind them. And then if you don't see them, you would make the assumption that perhaps they come from outer space. But it would, of course, be scientific narcissism to say that because we don't know about them on Earth, and we already know everything about Earth, except for the 95% of the deep oceans that we don't have mapped, or the entire continent at the South Pole that 95% of we haven't explored. I mean, other than that, we know everything about Earth. Other than those things. But this is how I know, for a fact, they know it's Antarctica, because they're trying to leak out stories now to make people believe, oh, there's just no life in Antarctica. There's no life in not even the dirt, not even microbes. Couldn't possibly be Antarctica. Even though they established in certain places 80 years ago something that's never been found, baloney. It was the reason Admiral Byrd said we should go there. And we should explore there, and we should consider using it strategically. So, no matter what aspect you look at of the continent, it is far more worthy of our time, our effort, our attention, and our finances than outer space is, for a myriad of reasons. So, anyway, I will leave it there. God bless. Have a happy Friday. Like, share, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.